Guys, what's going on? So look, right now we have two special guests in the building that have come a really long way since they started their service accommodation business. They're going to be giving you an insight into their journey and also giving you a lot of value as to what allowed them to really scale their business within a short space of time. There it is. We've got Miss Lauren and Mr. Leon in the building. How you guys doing? You all right?
Yeah, we're good, thanks.
You're good, thanks, yeah. How you feeling right now, huh? Being on this session?
Yeah, excited, a little bit nervous.
Yeah, excited, yeah.
You're good. It's gonna be super chilled out. But look, we're gonna be getting into obviously the details of where you guys are at right now. You know, we're gonna be touching on your journey. But for the people that don't know you guys, give a little introduction into yourselves.
Yeah, so I'm Lauren. I'm 27 years old from Whitehaven. I currently work as an administrator and got started in our property journey back in the start of May last year. We've been on the programme about 9 months now, secured our first Rent2Rent SA deal about 6 months ago.
My name's Leon, 30 years old, working as a maths teacher. Also started the journey the same time as Lauren, so like kind of what she said goes. It's been a journey so far. It's been great, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
So you guys are doing some pretty big things in the space, to say the least.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay, not fair enough. We'll get into the details of that. But prior to you guys actually getting started off with this business right here, I know you mentioned it was 9 months ago when you fully started off. Like, what was you doing before that, and what actually made you want to get started off with this sort of business?
Yeah, so we were jumping on free webinars, reading property books about all different strategies. We didn't know which strategy to go for first. Always knew we wanted to get into property, and then we came across one of your free webinars and we just got a good feel for it and jumped obviously on the call the next day, and it all just sort of spiraled from there.
Yeah, I mean, originally we always knew we wanted to get into property, but we didn't really know what strategy. We were thinking save up 25% deposit and do your traditional buy-to-let. And then obviously the webinar opened our mind and we thought like, wow, that's crazy how you can get started earlier without having to save that 25%.
Okay, so you guys, like you touched on, you're working at the moment full-time jobs, both of you guys.
Yeah, full-time.
So you're a teacher.
Yeah.
And you're what was
Administrator.
it? Perfect. So why did you choose to go down the path you went down as opposed to just continuing just doing what you're doing with your jobs?
So originally set off to create more time for the family. We didn't realise it would grow at this fast pace, but we were both working full-time jobs, obviously. Still are going out in the morning, coming back at night, not spending much time with the kids. So that's why we sort of got started with the property. We read that it can free up more time, generate income more passively than going out to a 9-to-5 job. And that was our aim. We never thought that we'd expand to the expansion that we've done so far, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was because I do like my 9-to-5 job, but then I was ill for a period of time and I didn't know if I could get back to the job. And then I was worried that the lifestyle that we created, you know, being in the system that you think is secure, at that point when I realised like I might not get back to work, it made me think, wow, like the thing that we have set up, you think it's safe, but it's actually quite fragile because if you can't go to work, everything you're used to having is gone. So I wanted to generate more financial security for my family while I still could, in case like things didn't improve with my health.
It's funny you say that as well, because when people are getting a job, like one of the benefits or the selling points is that, oh, it's safe, it's secure, you know, it's stable. But like people don't really, a lot of times don't see the other side of that, which is what you described, to be fair.
Yeah, it feels safe and secure and stable until it's not. Until you can't go in, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, well, you know, if I can't go in, then I don't get paid, then what have you got? Because if you're just reliant on going in, trading your time for money, when you can't go in and do that, then, you know, everything you've built all of a sudden can just be gone overnight. So, you know, that it's a scary realization, but it really did open my eyes and open my mind to looking at other ways to generate income.
Was that kind of like the turning point for you, would you say?
That was definitely the turning point for me. We talked about doing the traditional buy-to-let the year before that, like we'd always had it in our minds that we wanted to do it, and we'd slowly been saving up in like to try and like aim to get that 25%, but the motivation wasn't really there because, you know, I enjoy my job, things were going well, we could do what we wanted to do, so the motivation wasn't there until it was all kind of put at risk, and I realised how unsecure everything actually is.
Do you feel like if that wouldn't have happened, that situation we're in, there'll be a good chance that you wouldn't be where you are today?
I think who wouldn't have? Because it gave me the push that I needed to take action. Whereas before, I kind of knew what action I could take, but the push wasn't there. I didn't have the motivation. So this definitely was like the turning point for me where I thought, right, I need to take action now before it's too late.
Okay. So that's almost like a blessing, almost.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah. Yeah.
We were like interested in the serviced accommodation route, weren't we? Just sort of slightly before Leon got ill. And then we'd said, we were obviously planning our wedding at the time, and we'd said, we'll maybe get into it after the wedding. And probably looking back now, that after would have never came if that hadn't happened.
Why'd you say that?
It just gives you the push that you need, because it takes a lot of courage to start generating other income and setting your own company up and things. And the motivation when you're facing your struggles along the way, you could just give up quite easily. But if you're pushing through and you can see what you're doing it for, I think that makes a massive difference.
Okay, so you guys obviously went through that process and you obviously kickstarted your journey off. Talk to us about the start of it and how that kind of went for you guys.
I think you should start with the start of it because you kind of were the, pushing it forward to start with.
I started setting the company up, producing the information for the website, getting all the compliance in order, ready to start sort of sourcing properties. We set off after having some group talks with yourself and training to make these calls, started calling landlords. I must have been sending out 60 plus inquiries a day, and the amount of no's I got, it was quite unreal really. But then I did push through, I built my confidence, and eventually you started getting landlords more on board with what you were saying and things. I think a big factor for me was practicing with landlords where it didn't really matter, somewhere totally out of an area where we would ever want to try and set up, just to sort of get your confidence, and you can sort of think on the phone, well, if it goes wrong, it doesn't matter, I'm never going to speak to these landlords again. And that really helped me build my confidence. I've built my confidence as a person throughout this training. And we started getting some yeses and going on viewings and things. So,
How many no's did you have to go through before you got to your first yes?
A lot. I think I secured, over a 2-week period, sending 60 inquiries out a day, I think I secured 3 viewings. That was in Newcastle, the first place that we tried. So quite a lot of no's to get to the yes for a viewing. And obviously all those viewings don't lead to a complete yes in the finish up. Okay,
so with your first deal, talk to us about that, like the starting process of that and how that kind of went.
Yeah, so we went on a viewing. We actually done a second viewing because we weren't quite sure. This was in Whitehaven. So we were still a little bit unsure on setting up in our hometown. Didn't really know what the market was around us. But then, went on the viewing, went for a second viewing, really built that relationship with the landlord. It was really helpful and really easygoing, so easy to get along with. And he just put us at ease, really.
It helped that he'd heard of like the serviced accommodation model before. So he was educated as well, so which I think made things easier. Yeah,
definitely. So obviously we agreed to go ahead with the property. We actually managed to negotiate £50 off the rent.
Okay.
So, and that was quite scary. That was like a big moment, wasn't it? When you discussing this first deal, because that could have been the turning point. Do we get it or do we not?
Yeah, of course.
And he was happy with that. And through that, we built a connection with a landlord that's got a huge portfolio, so many opportunities to carry forward with us as well. So it was quite successful first property. Took quite a while to set up. Obviously, like I say, Leon was still coming sort of out of his illness. There was all the furniture to build, the whole house needed painted and cleaned up, and just to get it to a standard where we were happy to have guests in the property. So it took longer than expected to set up, but we got there and we started getting bookings pretty quickly.
Yeah, luckily to help with that, we did negotiate a rent-free period of 2 weeks, didn't we? Just to allow set-up time.
Of course. I know you mentioned before that it took a month to get your first place.
3 months.
Oh, it's 3 months. Okay, it was 3 months.
So a lot of rejection.
Okay, I forgot about that. Okay, so 3 months, which is a long time to be fair. But After getting your first deal, like how quickly did it start really building up for you guys and taking off?
Instantly. You know, the second deal was kind of agreed within the same week. I
Yeah,
remember
same
correctly.
week, yeah.
Yeah.
It just sort of spiraled from there. We were getting landlords coming to us, which was different, obviously.
Yeah,
the
of course.
first experience. It was just crazy. To have 2 deals in the same week, that was unreal.
After 3 months of
Yeah.
nothing,
Yeah.
rejection.
And it really boosted our confidence, didn't it? And made us feel like, yes, we can do this. Let's carry on. Like, we're going to make something out of this. It was...
Okay. And how far did you get? So you did 2 deals in 1 week. And then after that, what kind of happened? Talk to us about that.
So the first landlord Lauren was talking about with our first property, on the viewing I'd spoke to him and found out that he had 2 other properties that were currently operating as serviced accommodation with a different management company. You know, through that conversation I learnt that things weren't going as well for either party and that agreement was coming to an end. So during that viewing I'd kind of, you know, given intent of our interest that we would want to take those 2 properties on as well. If I remember, they were ready about the start of September,
Yeah.
I think, or that's when that contract was going to come to an end. So we agreed to view them. We'd seen that they were already set up as serviced accommodation, so they were going to be becoming furnished as well. So it was like a risk because obviously we'd only just took our first 2, but we verbally agreed that we would take on those up next 2 at the same time in September. Yeah.
Okay. And you ended up taking it on in September.
Yeah, we took them both.
Yeah.
Okay. So from then till now, like how many deals did you say you've taken on in total?
It's 8 now, isn't it?
Yeah, 8.
Now. 7 are running, and then we're just like in the process of acquiring the 8th.
Okay. So you're able to take on 8 service accommodation deals. How long would you say it took you to get from 0 to 8?
Yeah, so from having our first property,
Yes.
obviously, because of the time before that, it's sort of setting up your company and things, so all of that isn't actively searching for deals. So from accepting our first one to where we are now, it's only been 6 months. So we've got 8 deals within the 6 months.
6 months, 8 deals, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
How are you guys feeling about that in terms of how much was done within that space of time?
Crazy.
It's exceeded all expectations. We were planning the by the end of the last year, if you know what I mean. So at that point we had 7.
Yeah.
So we'd doubled what we'd forecast we thought we'd be able to do. I think we were aiming to have 6 by March, April time, because that would have been a year of officially around about joining.
Yeah,
March,
roughly.
probably more April. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what we'd set in our heads. So we've done a year's worth of work in our heads in 6 months, which is crazy.
And cash flow wise, how much would you say those 8 deals are generating you per month?
Well, we've got the 7 going at the moment.
So the 7 is probably about 6,000 a month. Once we take it up to the 8th, obviously we'll be further towards 7,000 mark.
Okay.
It's quite a luxury apartment, the 8th one that we're taking on. So
Oh, you're in the process of taking
that
it
one-
on?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see. So
Yeah.
all 8, you're looking at give or take £7,000 per month.
Yeah.
And that took you, it's been 9 months.
Yeah.
It's been overall.
Yeah, since we
since
we
you
joined
joined
the
the program.
program 9 months. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have been told that prior to you joining the program, okay, look, 9 months later, this is where you're going to be at, would you have believed me?
No,
No,
I would have laughed.
I'd have to. Because, I don't think we ever really expected to make that much money within 12 months. So to make £6,000-7,000 a month profit within such a short space of time, it's crazy. It's still, I know we're living it, but saying it, I still think it's crazy.
Yeah.
It still sounds unbelievable.
And how long have you guys been working your jobs for prior to this?
I've been working as a teacher for about 9 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing something similar. Not of a teacher, but yeah.
Yeah, so I've had different jobs. So I've been an administrator for the majority, but this current job I've been in for 18 months.
Okay. There's a reason I'm asking, because it's so funny. The way I think about it is that you, especially for a teacher or something, you spend all this time going to uni, studying, you become a teacher, and then you're kind of almost restricted to that. Maybe there's a little room for growth, but then you're getting started off with something like this, and then within a space of 8-9 months, you're making what the head teacher's making.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, really.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah.
Just make you question the choices that you've made, but that's what you're taught, isn't it? You go to school, you get your A levels, successfully get a degree, and then you get a job and you work up for progression, and that's the way my mind had been programmed. So in my mind, I was doing well, successful,
Yeah.
and then this opportunity came along, and now it's like just changes your mindset as to what can be achieved.
And what sort of like, and that's another thing I was going to ask you as well, what sort of, you guys getting to where you are right now, obviously there's still a lot more to do, but how do you feel like that's changed things for you, like right now?
For me, it's changed my life. I've managed to hand my notice in just Tuesday gone. So I'll be leaving my full-time role to focus solely on the business. It's requiring a bit more work now just because we're still wanting to scale up. So I'm better putting my time into that than my 9 to 5 still.
Yeah, and then because we've got 3 children as well, like that was the main reason to do it, wasn't it, really, to generate more time to spend with them? Because now Lauren's handed her notice in, we're like at a turning, we've achieved an achievement that we'd set out, or a goal that we'd set out for Lauren to be able to do that, so that then she could enjoy family life more.
Yeah.
So it's been obviously hard balancing 2 full-time jobs, 3 children, and scaling up a business. So like a lot of time and effort has gone in. So, you know, it hasn't been easy, but it's nice to get to like this checkpoint where very shortly your life's like going to be totally different because you're free from the 9 to 5. You know, she can be her own boss. It's great.
Seeing all the rewards for the hard work, and that's great to see.
Of course. And to be fair, you mentioned something I wanted to touch on as well, and that's to do with time. Because I speak to quite a few people and they think time is an issue for them. Like, I really want to do this, but, you know, time, man, it's a problem. But for you guys, I mean, if there's anyone that I would think didn't have the right amount of time to give to this, it would probably be you guys.
Yeah, time has been a struggle, I can't lie. But if you want to get further in life, you've got to put the time in now to get the time back later. Time is a big thing, but you're limiting yourself and you're limiting the growth of your business if you don't put extra hours in aside from the 9 to 5. I mean, we must have about 5-6 hours sleep, maybe 7 on the weekend, and that's every night. But we're putting the work in now to gain more family time in the future. It'll create a better life for our children and just us as a family in general.
We've just like had to change our mindset as to what should be done on a weekend, because what we used to do on weekends that we'd like to get back to doing more of, we've had to like sacrifice that. So you do have to sacrifice things that you would normally do to make time to grow something. So that's what we've had to do, just work the 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, and then put the work in at the weekends and in the evenings.
Okay.
But then I suppose if you compare it to someone that's on a lower income and they're working all the overtime to increase their wage, they're still putting all that time in and not having the results that we're having. So it's definitely worth putting the time into it because we're working for ourselves. So everything that we grow, we've achieved and is ours in the end.
Okay. So when it comes to like you guys actually building the service accommodation business, what do you feel like was some of the hardest parts for you, or some of the biggest challenges that you faced?
Like we've just said, time was definitely...
Time. Okay, there's time.
Definitely.
What else?
But apart from that, rejection, which then really affects your motivation to carry on. Rejection with landlords about you being a new company, about not wanting company lets, like that's a big thing. But you've just got to sort of push through and put it to the back of your mind, keep achieving.
I think like fear is like a barrier that you have to overcome, like fear of the unknown. It's like there's fear when you first join the mentorship that I felt like, is this too good to be true? Like, what am I signing myself up for? So you have that fear.
Yeah.
Then it's fear of taking on a deal. You've worked hard for it, but then you have to then overcome that barrier in your mind that, what if I don't fill this place? Then I've got the fear that I'm going to actually end up with less money per month because that rent still needs to be paid. So you've got to get over that fear. Then like fear of the first guests, like we had that. It's like, there's loads of things that you'll be fearful of, or we were fearful of, that you don't even see coming, but it's like breaking down those barriers like throughout the process, and then it just when you do it again and again, it just gets easier because your confidence is built, and you know, fear of mistakes, but we learn from mistakes. So got to have a go, make those mistakes so that you can adjust the process and the implementation for next time. So I think that was a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when it comes to risk, yes, there is a bit of risk there, but it's not as risky as some risks you can take in life. And any successful business has not got there without taking any risks to begin with. So fear was definitely a big one for us, wasn't it? But we've overcome it, and this is how far. So.
I noticed that with a lot of people as well. you know, they want to get started off with something like this. They want to change their lives. They want to do big things, but then they don't say they're scared, but I know they're scared.
Yeah.
Do you hear what I'm saying? And I can see that that's going to be the thing that holds them back, because some people just can't bring themselves to confront that sort of fear, because it is scary.
Yeah.
It is scary. You're confronting the unknown.
There's no doubt about
yeah, and compared to you having a job, everything's secure, you're stable, you know what you're getting. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So for you guys, I mean, I know you mentioned you kind of felt that fear. Like, what would you kind of say to people that are, you know, wanting to get started off with something like this, but that fear is just kind of just keeping them glued to the ground, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So I actually seen a good quote on this the other day, and it was, don't be scared, because if you listen to what other people say, I'd be scared of the position that I'd be in now if I didn't take that risk. It carries risk, and you've got to push through that, but it will be worth it in the end. And what are you risking, really? Your time, a bit of money, but you can get that all back if it all goes wrong. But if you don't take that risk in the first place, you'll never know what you could have been and what you could have grown.
For me, what helped me overcome my fear, like personally, was the fear of not doing it, because I was in a situation where everything was not looking good and things were like significantly changing. I thought, I'm more fearful of not taking action than taking action. And then from there, you just like overcome things, just remembering why you're doing it in the first place and what you're trying to build for the children. So like fear it does stop you, but then if you've got the right motivation, you just like remember what you set out to do. It helps you overcome those fears, and then usually when you're taking those steps that you're being fearful of, you'll find that they're not even as bad as what your mind has manifested anyway. It's just like a mindset thing.
The last few properties, we've definitely noticed the difference of the different fears that we've had. We've been much more relaxed, signing the paperwork and getting everything closed off and having first guests. It's not as big of a deal now as what it was on those first few properties. Yeah, we were scared.
What about like some of the people, because you get some people that are like, I want to make sure I know everything, I want to make sure I got all my T's crossed and I's dotted before I get started. Like everything needs to be in place and I need to be ready, I need to be mentally ready. What would you say?
Again, I think it comes back to mistakes. You've got to make those mistakes to progress in the future and learn a different way to do things. I think that if you jump on the course and you don't get started straight away, the figure builds up more. I think if you're practicing alongside of setting everything up, probably that's what I would change, because we did sort of do the company setup, got the website and things done, and then we started calling landlords. But at that point, we were ready to call landlords that we actually wanted to take on. So it made the process a little bit slower. So I'd say to anyone now joining that, be practicing those calls alongside, because again, it doesn't matter if you mess up on those first few calls. It's practice. And then once you've got all your website and everything done, you're ready to go in with the landlords that you really want to take their properties on with, and I think that would speed up the process a bit.
I don't think you ever truly feel ready. You know, if you're waiting to feel ready, the time will never come. You just got to take action and be willing to make mistakes. Like, it's not the end of the world as long as you learn from your mistakes. Like, that's the key thing that I've taken away from the journey so far, because when we started, I certainly didn't feel ready. We just took a risk and got on with it and just kept pushing through. So I just don't think there's a point where you ever think, oh yeah, I'm all good now, everything's like set up, it's a convenient time.
Never.
It's not going to happen.
Fair enough. So for you guys, what's the going forward, like what's the plan? What are you trying to make happen?
Lots of things. With the Rent2Rent service accommodation properties, we're aiming to scale that up. We're looking at taking on another area within Cumbria, because things are going well in Whitehaven now, like things are systemised. So we're looking to kind of repeat the process in a different area initially. That's like our next step. And then eventually we'd like to get educated on different property strategies, such as like BRR and HMOs, possibly even buying them rather than renting them, like long term. That's kind of like what we're aiming to do eventually.
Another thing that we're going to look into as well is managing other people's properties on a management service. So now we've got the systems and the processes, the teams in place, we would be able to manage other people's properties. We've got the experience from managing our own, and we could provide that service to landlords that are struggling, that want to make a little bit extra money on the property. A lot of landlords in our area do the standard buy-to-let, so they've never been opened up to the serviced accommodation route. So I think by doing that, they can really maximise their profits on the properties they have.
Okay. I actually wanted to chat to you about that as well, because you guys, before you guys told me about Whitehaven, I didn't actually know that was an area. So, and a lot of people that are thinking about this sort of thing, thinking about starting a service accommodation business, they all pretty much think the same thing. They think they need to get started in a big city, Manchester, Birmingham, London. Very few people, if any, would think about somewhere like Whitehaven.
Yeah.
I definitely probably wouldn't have. Or how does one determine whether or not somewhere like Whitehaven or just somewhere out in the sticks works well?
For us, obviously, living there, we didn't recognise it at first. We were looking in cities ourselves, and then when we had like a light bulb moment where we were in like a Premier Inn, and there was like vans everywhere, and blokes in high vis, and we thought, oh, I wonder what they're all doing here. And then something kind of clicked that if there is enough trade for a Premier Inn, people are coming and staying for whatever reason. So then we researched the area, obviously a bit more. We live there, we know kind of what's going on. And we got like a hospital, there's a nuclear power plant. So when we were conducting the research, it was like those kind of indicators for us that meant that there was that market of contractors in our case coming to the area for work that did need short-term accommodation.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just not to limit your mindset on big cities and things, there's often smaller towns around cities that will work just as well. Although you can't charge as much per night, you're paying lower rent in the first place, so you're not actually getting any less money setting up in a smaller town.
We went through quite a bit, to be fair, and for you guys, I mean, what would be like your final words to people that maybe are in a situation that you guys were in once upon a time and want to make a change?
Yeah, so mine would be that the time is now. Don't wait to be ready, and take action to change your life. If you don't want to change your life, then you can carry on in your 9 to 5, but definitely it's worth the hard work to get the progress in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, probably it'd be similar as about belief in yourself. If you can envision it and you believe that you can do it, then that will give you like the driving motivation to keep pushing forward and keep breaking down those barriers, and just be willing to make mistakes and learn from the mistakes. And just believe that if you keep working hard, eventually you will see the results.
Okay. And if people wanted to reach out to you guys, connect with you guys, how can they do that?
Yeah, so my name's Lauren Barkley, and our company is called LLB Property Management.
Yeah, and my name is Leon Barkley, so you could reach me on Facebook. Probably reach yourself on Facebook.
Yeah, and
well.
Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Instagram, yeah. Facebook is just your names, Leon Barkley and Lauren Barkley.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, no worries, guys. Look, I appreciate you guys taking the time. Been an inspirational journey, to say the least. I'm glad to have been a part of it, and we can make 2024 the best possible year so far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
looking
you for all
forward to
your
it.
help as well.
It's
Couldn't
all
have done it
good.
without you.
I appreciate that.